Thanks, John. First of all, let me welcome you all to this training session, which is concerned with the GCSE reforms going linear. And my session today is going to focus on changes for art and design. There'll be a few slides at the beginning which are general. What are the GCSE reforms? Well, Ofqual has confirmed changes to all GCSEs in England. The first being to make all GCSE assessment linear in structure. The second point here, to award additional marks for spelling, punctuation and grammar in English, literature, geography, history and religious studies. And note that units can't be resat before cash-in, and there'll be a restriction on the availability of examinations to the summer series. And of course, point to make here is that those changes don't directly affect GCSE Art and Design, and I will be dealing with GCSE Art and Design a little later. So if we just look through this timeline to begin with, then the first point to make is that the first teaching of the last GCSE two-year courses with modular assessment, well, that started in September 2011. Entry for GCSE units were restricted to students entering for awards no later than autumn 2013 for English language, English and mathematics, and no later than summer 2013 for all other subjects. The final exam series with modular assessment, including English languages, English and maths, 2013. The final exam series with modular assessment in English language, English and maths, 40% terminal assessment rule must be met November 2013. The series no longer available for GCSE exams 2014 January and March. This September 2010, this is the first teaching of three-year GCSE courses that includes spelling, punctuation and grammar. This is the first teaching of two-year GCSEs. This is September 2011. The first teaching of new linear GCSE three-year courses, September 2011. Two-year GCSE linear courses, September 2012. And here we've got a note about external assessments, which would include additional marks of spelling, punctuation, grammar in these series. And external assessments will include additional marks of spelling, punctuation, grammar, June 2014, June 2015. And GCSE is available as linear qualifications from May, June exam series only, June 2014, June 2015. GCSE's English language, English and maths available as linear qualifications, but no other subjects are available. So for all two-year GCSE courses starting in September 2012, candidates will be applying for their GCSE award in 2014, and they'll be required to sit all their exams at the end of the course, and essentially that's what happens in GCSE Art now. So there are minimal changes to specifications, with the exception of those subjects that where they'll be introducing marks of spelling, punctuation and grammar. There are no plans to change the subject content of the specifications. The GCSE reforms really affect the way in which external assessment is taken, rather than changing the actual external assessments. So candidates will have to take all their GCSE assessments at the end of the course for awards made from summer 2014 onwards, which again is what happens with GCSE Art and Design at present. So additional marks will be awarded for spelling, punctuation and grammar. This doesn't apply for GCSE Art, but it does apply for awards in English, literature, geography, history and religious studies. And where marks are allocated for spelling, punctuation, grammar, this will be indicated for those individual questions. So students will know which questions include marks for spelling, punctuation and grammar. There are no proposed changes to controlled assessment content. There's no change there. Schools can continue to arrange controlled assessments at their discretion. and unit results can be carried forward if a student wishes to retake the whole qualification. So candidates won't be allowed to carry unit results forward from one exam series to another, except, first of all, where those units have already been used to count towards a GCSE single award, and a candidate wishes to reuse the unit result for a double award in the same subject, or where a candidate wishes to carry forward the result from one or more assessment units in order to retake the whole qualification. This is a note here about reforms to the performance tables. The headline indicator from 2014 will continue to be 5 or more A-star to C GCSEs, including English and Maths. Qualifications will count as the equivalent of one GCSE. Vocational and academic qualifications will continue to be recognised. Edexcel certificates will be included. And EBAC, a new performance measure awarded to any student who secures good GCSE, C or above, or accredited certificate passes for English, Maths, History or Geography, 2 sciences, and an ancient or modern foreign language. Let's move on then to just look and hear about what the linear changes mean for GCSE Art and Design. And in fact, the impact on GCSE Art and Design will be minimal, as the structure of the current specification now requires candidates to offer their work for final assessment at the end of the course. Entries can only be submitted for the summer series. So to all intents and purposes, the current GCSE Art and Design specification is a linear specification, insofar as the 2 units that combine to make up the full GCSE qualification, which we'll look at in a moment, can only be examined in the summer series, that is to say at the end of the course. There isn't an option in GCSE Art and Design to enter for Unit 1 or Unit 2 in a winter series of examinations, because we don't have a winter series of examinations in GCSE Art and Design. Generally, it's true to say that the impact of the reforms on GCSE Art and Design will be minimal. So here's the structure of the specification, which I've no doubt many, if not all, delegates will be familiar with. But just to refresh our minds about this, the specification has 2 units. One unit, which is worth 60% of the total marks available, is Unit 1, and this is personal portfolio in art and design. And another way to think about that is coursework. And in this unit, the work is internally set by you in your centres. You decide what the tasks and so forth that your candidates will engage with might be, and then you make some assessment decisions about that work first, and then at the end of the course, in the summer term, you're visited by one of our moderators, who will look at the marks you've awarded and look to see how they connect and relate to the national standards for the examination. The Unit 1 is only available for final assessment in the June series, and as I said already, it's weighted at 60%. And what is the structure of this? What do you actually assess? Well, you make an assessment decision of a portfolio of work, and that could take the form literally of a folder of work, if that's how your candidates want to present it to you and the moderator, or, as is very often the case in centres, presented in the form of an exhibition. The second unit, this is the externally set assignment. This differs from the first unit insofar as it's externally set. It's externally set by the examination board, but again you make some internal assessment decisions about the work that your candidates produce for that unit, and then the moderator comes to visit you and looks at the work and the marks that you've awarded, and looks to see to what degree the marks that you've awarded are in line with the national standards. And the externally set assignment is weighted at 40% of the total marks available. What do you actually make an assessment decision on? It's the body of work, which might again take the form of a portfolio which is presented to you, or it might be set out for you to make your final assessment decisions in the form of an exhibition, and similarly for the moderator. So it's clear that with the new as we move to linear, the situation that we have at the moment, where the work's presented for assessment at the end of the course, will be just as it is now, insofar as the work is presented for final assessment decisions at the end of the course. So there will be no changes to the content of the specification. The final assessment, in fact, is already, for our current specification, positioned at the end of the 2-year course, and that will be the case as we move to linear. Controlled assessment, which I'll say some more about in a few moments, those tasks, those projects can be carried out at any time, but work must be submitted for final assessment decision at the end of the course. Candidates can't retake any units before they cash them in, and in fact retaking of units is something that's very unusual in GCSE Art and Design. In fact, I must say I've never encountered any examples of it in centres that I've visited. A point to draw your attention to about controlled assessment. Controlled assessment for GCSE Art and Design has been the focus of some interest by teachers, and I would want to draw your attention and really encourage delegates to look at this document that's available on the Edexcel website, this document called Edexcel GCSE Art and Design Controlled Assessment Teacher Support Book, because it really does provide lots and lots of support for enabling teachers to understand controlled assessment in the context of GCSE Art and Design. Many questions that are in teachers' minds about controlled assessment are dealt with very clearly in this booklet, and I would encourage delegates, if you haven't done so already, to obtain this booklet from the website and look at it, because many questions that you might have in your mind will be very effectively answered by it. Essentially, what controlled assessment is concerned with in art and design is ensuring that the work that's submitted for assessment, the assessment decisions that you're going to make, is authentically the work of the candidate and is free from any form of plagiarism. That's the main focus for controlled assessment, the purpose of controlled assessment. So, for Unit 1, the personal portfolio, the point to make here is that the themes, or themes that you might put together for your candidates to engage with as they seek to put together visual evidence for your assessment, those themes, those projects, those topics are all a matter for you to select and develop in your centre. The themes for that Controlled Assessment Unit 1, the personal portfolio, aren't set by Edexcel. That's for a matter for you in your centres to deal with. So the work is internally set by you, and then it's marked by you, and standardised, where you've got teachers working in more than one endorsement, possibly, or more than one teacher teaching the same endorsement. It's important to make sure that the same level of assessment decisions are made by different teachers. The work and the assessment decisions that are made of it are then externally moderated, and of course guidance can be given to candidates with the aim of encouraging independence. It's worth pointing out that there are editable schemes of work available on our Edexcel website, and the links there on the screen. But it's important to stress that the focus for these learning activities are selected and developed by you in your centres, and you're therefore free to select any themes that are appropriate to your candidates and resources. The theme or themes might have a separate focus or might be interconnected and so on. But the candidate work, would be we would seek to encourage the work including supporting studies and personal responses. The schemes of work that are on the website are there offered to you to support you in developing your individual way of constructing a suitable course of study for your particular candidates, and that therefore takes account of the resource available in your centre and the teaching strengths of your department staff. They certainly have a value in provoking thinking about course design and reflecting on your existing course design. The ESA, externally set assignment, this is the second unit, 40% of the marks, as I mentioned a few moments ago. This is the theme for this is externally set, and it's a broad-based thematic starting point. And the ESA is available to centres in the January of each year, available on the website, and there's a link there that will take you to ESA papers on the web. The theme is externally set, and again you make an assessment decision about the work that your candidates produce in response to that paper. And again, those marks that you offer to your candidates should equate to marks offered by a colleague in your centre with a different group of candidates, in other words, standardised. And then our moderator will visit your centre and seek to discover the degree to which the marks that you've awarded are in line with the national standard. Formal supervision is required at this point in the GCSE course for the 10-hour aspect of that ESA unit. You'll know that there's a period of preparatory work, preparatory study that goes on that leads up to this 10-hour period of sustained focus, and it's during that 10-hour sustained focus period that has to be formally supervised. That period of sustained focus, that 10-hour period, can take place from the 1st of March. So thinking about the teaching of the course for linear assessment in Unit 1, Personal Portfolio, well, there's no change for GCSE Art and Design. The Personal Portfolio is a body of work, a body of practical research and development leading to one or more outcomes or a variety of resolutions. And you can devise in your centres the content of that Unit 1 work and plan and select and develop your own theme or many themes and projects that go to create that body, that enables the to create that body of work. So those themes, as I've indicated already, could be separate in focus or they could be interconnected. It's important to remember, though, that that body of work should seek to enable candidates to show that they have covered all four assessment objectives, which are interrelated. And so, centres can easily deliver the objectives in a holistic way, in ways which suit the nature of their practice, to ensure full coverage in the work of the personal portfolio. Thinking about the externally set assignment and the teaching for that, well, the externally set assignment does represent the culmination of the course, and as I've said already, it consists of one broad theme which is externally set, which candidates are invited to respond to and develop a body of work, preparatory study, and this work that's produced during the 10-hour sustained focus period. And again, all four assessment objectives should be covered, must be covered in the work that's presented. That's to say the preparatory supporting studies and the sustained focus, which is submitted for this ESA externally assessed assignment. So what I've put on the screen now is an example of a GCSE examination paper which I put together. It's a past paper, and you can see here the general framework that we use. We've got this headline theme, in this case similarities and or differences, and then I offer some other words which link to that headline theme. And then further on in the paper, what you would find is that under each there's a series of headings, and the idea here is to open up that broad headline theme by thinking about a focus that you might have for your preparatory study and for your final outcome. So this particular page that you can see, I offer some thoughts about how you might pursue similarities and or differences by thinking about people, and then there are a series of other themes that go on in the remaining pages of the paper. Also, as in the paper, what you'll find is that I will offer examples of work from the wider context of painting and textiles and graphic design and so on. And here I've got an illustration of an example, some sculpture, which would link directly to this ESA theme. In the lower right-hand corner of the examination paper there, I also go on to suggest some artists that it might be worth investigating to see if they provide inspiration, and similarly there are websites and books as well that you might consider exploring to help in the development of response to the theme. It is important to say, though, that they are suggestions. The way that the theme is unpacked with these subheadings, they are suggestions, as are the examples of artists' work, whether that be illustrations or whether it be the names of artists and so on. And you know, each and every one of those illustrations could relate to any one of the sub-themes that I'm offering. And of course, candidates often, I'm pleased to say, go out there and seek out interesting artistic connections of their own, which are different from those that I provide in the paper. The purpose here is to invite individual personal responses and to offer candidates as much support as possible in the beginning of their creative journey to explore the theme and develop work and bring forward exciting outcomes. You can find examples of the ESA, past papers, on the Edexcel website, and the one I've shown you there, you'd be able to see all the other pages that are in the paper. I'm just showing you a little snapshot at the moment in this slide. So, assessment objectives. Candidates do need to show in their body of work evidence for all of the objectives, and we're familiar with them. Here they are, 4 of them. The assessment objective 1, which is concerned with developing ideas informed by the context, essentially. Assessment objective 2 is about refining ideas, reviewing, refining, modifying. It's concerned with experimenting, exploring the way in materials and techniques and so on. Assessment objective 3 is about research, essentially, visual research, recording ideas, observations and insights that are relevant to intentions. And assessment objective 4 is about presenting that personal, informed, meaningful response that demonstrates a level of analytical and critical understanding and makes connections between the context and so forth. This slide is intended to just provoke the idea that there are lots and lots of ways that candidates could and should and will develop outcomes when constructing, putting together their work, and the same can be said of constructing a scheme of work in a centre. There are lots and lots of different kinds of candidates and teachers who work in many, many different ways. You know, our young GCSE artists might well start from a period of observation, or equally a different GCSE young artist might start by you know, having some kind of critical encounter that inspires them to go off in a certain direction in their developing their work for the personal portfolio and or the ESA. Equally, another young artist might find their starting point is the most fertile starting point for them is where they just experiment, simply experiment with materials and techniques, and they discover something about the way that materials behave or the potential of a technique, which is the starting point of their journey. And of course I'm always reminded that there are candidates out there who have a kind of vague idea about where they're trying to get to, and that's also an interesting way to begin a creative journey. No one way is better than any other, but what is important is that wherever you start, in whatever manner you start, all of the assessment objectives in the final analysis are important for achieving marks. So there should always be evidence of research, evidence of a critical encounter and response, evidence of development, and of course realisation. And that's the point I want to make there. That there are many ways in which candidates can be encouraged to produce the most exciting visual responses. And so equally, there are many ways in which you can construct a scheme of work. It wouldn't be right to suggest that one should work through the assessment objectives simply in order. Deal with AO1 first, then AO2, then AO3, and so on. As I'm indicating here, there's lots of places that you can start. Then this is the essential message in developing that program of work, that those activities should encourage candidates to bring forward work, evidence in their body of work which shows that they have indeed developed ideas that take account of the context, for a better way of putting it, that they have engaged in a process of refinement and modification and experiment, that they have carried out visual research and built their outcomes on that process of recording, and of course presented, communicated in an effective way their final outcomes that reveal, if you like, the impact of and the value of connections that they've made. Edexcel are keen to support you in centres in every way that we can, and I just want to use this slide now to draw attention to opportunities for obtaining further advice and support. The first one is our subject advisor, Susan Young, and Susan's team can be contacted on this number that's on the screen now, 0844 576 0032, or you can email Susan and her team at Art and Design Subject Advisor at edexcelexperts.co.uk. A very useful element of support that's available to centres is this next one, Ask the Expert. And here you're put in direct contact with a senior examiner or moderator who will be able to help you with a subject inquiry, and you will receive an email within a very short period of time which will set out a detailed answer to any query that you might have. We're working hard at Edexcel to keep you fully informed, and we'll be sending out a series of mailings over the next little while to keep you informed about the reforms. There's also a subject page which is worth... My apologies for the crackling. I was talking about Ask the Expert. That's right. Yes, here's a way in which you can send an inquiry to the senior team, and they will come back to you with a response within 3 days. Mailings are going out to keep you informed about the reforms, and of course the last one on this list here, this subject page, which will enable you to keep keep up to date with developments, and the web page there is on the screen at the moment. It's worth investigating that web page for more information. So in summary then, GCSE, there's a move to linear assessment. There are going to be marks for spelling, punctuation and grammar in these subjects on the screen now, art not being one of them. There's no plans to change the subject content, GCSE specifications, no plan to change the content of controlled assessments. Units can't be resat before cash-in, and exams will be restricted to the summer series. As we know, in Art and Design we only have a summer series anyway. And the headline indicator for performance tables continues to be 5 or more A-star to C GCSEs, including English Maths, and an EBAC performance measure is introduced. More information available on this website address here, edexcel.com/GCSE reforms, for more details. Which brings me to the end of my part of the presentation, and if there are immediate questions concerned with the way in which the reforms will affect GCSE Art and Design, now will be the time to offer them.